children of all ages. Stay Weird Network proudly brings to you its newest show, Cards Subject to Change, with Hassel. As you see, peep the shirt. This is a wrestling show where we tackle the what-ifs of professional wrestling. The greatest, what if it went this way? What if it went that way? What if? So, we're going to get into the time portal, jump all the way back to 2002, WWF 2002, when Vince McMahon injected the NWO into his federation. So, to give you a little backstory as to what happened, back in February of 2002, on our timeline, what happened was Vince McMahon and Ric Flair were feuding over ownership of the WWF, because when the kids sold off all of their shares to be part of the alliance and buy WCW and ECW, Ric Flair was the consortium storyline-wise. He was co-owner of the WWF. It ends up with Vince owning SmackDown, Flair owning Raw at the end of the day. They're still going head-to-head and feuding, and Vince is finally like, look, instead of letting you destroy what I created, I'll destroy it, and I'll inject poison into the WWF. And that's when he brings the original three members of the NWO, Hall, Nash, and Hogan. Survey says, one more for the good guys. So this had legs. This got a lot of people excited, pumped. We thought we really had something going here. Didn't take us long to realize it was snake bit from the start, though. So they come in February. By WrestleMania, you know it's already DOA. So Hogan goes on to have one of the most iconic matches with The Rock. But, unfortunately, the fans wanted the Hulkster. They wanted the return. They didn't want Hollywood Hogan. They didn't want the NWO. They wanted the Hulkster. And they let everybody know. They wanted him more than they wanted The Rock. So Hogan does a face turn. Well, this kind of leaves Hall and Nash dead in the water. Especially when Hall has to put over Stone Cold that night, who, pulled his Hogan card of, that don't work for me, brother. After he done put through Scott Hall through hell for weeks, the man was taking medicine to not drink. You got Austin pouring alcohol down his throat, making him physically sick in real life. It's a pretty scummy thing to do, but you should have known when, you got Kevin Nash standing by the ring. This man is a former WCW and WWF champion, and he's just standing ringside, and Hall goes to staring up at the lights at the end of the night for Austin, who doesn't last very much longer into the year himself before coming back to finish up at Mania, him and The Rock both. So, the next night on Raw, in the regular timeline, you have Hall and Nash. They turn on Hogan, leave him laying in the ring, spray paint his back. X-Pac joins the NWO. Okay, we might have something here. For the next few weeks, you have this trio facing the Hulkster, The Rock, and Kane and his Canaanites. Okay, we still got something here. Off and on, this trio faces Austin, The Rock, Flair, a few others. And then finally, Big Show turns on Austin. Big Show rejoins NWO. I'm fine with that as well. Big Show was one of the original 4 NWO. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after the Big Show joins, the plane ride from hell happens, and Scott Hall, with a slew of other talent, is released because he is a part of the plane ride from hell, and it was just a disaster. So, you go forth. They need something. They really need something. Vince pulls the Hail Mary. He brings back Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels returns, joins up with the NWO, and it's like, okay, we might be taking this seriously. First thing they do is super kick Booker T out of the group, who should have never even been in the group. But somehow or another in this timeline, Ric Flair just injected Booker T into it. Didn't make sense to us either, people. But hey, we're going to make it make sense in a few minutes. Bear with me. So, you think they're correcting the course. The first night, the first thing they do is Triple H is passing the hallway. He's going to get his world title shot, trying to get redemption after he lost the title to Hogan. And they tell him, hey, strength in numbers, brother. Throw up the sign. We're there. He doesn't take the bait. Setting the seeds for what should be a very good feud for quite a while. Unfortunately, the very next week on Raw, The unthinkable happens. Kevin Nash, in the opening minutes of a tag match, tears his quadricep. He is done. He is finished. He is finito for almost a year. He is gone. The very next week on Raw, Vince McMahon comes down and says, "You'll never hear that music again. The NWO is gone." He appoints Eric Bischoff, the new general manager of Raw. The next month, at SummerSlam, Shawn Michaels makes his return to the ring as a face, facing Triple H, who is the world champion. They have a great match. Comes Survivor Series, Shawn Michaels wins the world title. Who'd have thought that? Who'd have thought you'd ever seen Shawn Michaels with the big gold? I didn't. But this is what we got in the real timeline. So instead of going for the low-hanging fruit and saying, well, what if the NWO was taken seriously at WrestleMania where it all really started? We're not going there. We're going to say, what if Kevin Nash had not tore his quadricep that night? So the week prior, the seeds were planted for either Triple H to join, and if you're not with us, brother, you're against us. So when he doesn't join, the next week after Kevin Nash, the Giant, and X-Pac, along with Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, defeat the team they faced, instead of tearing his quadricep, they move forward with Triple H. Hey, brother, where you at? What if? Now we have a feud that we can start with. Eric Bischoff still comes in. Eric Bischoff, let's face it, when you're NWO, you're NWO for life. So he's going to be pro NWO. He's a heel anyways. See, as he brings back the big gold instead of just giving it to Triple H like he did in the original timeline, what if he sets up at SummerSlam Kevin Nash versus Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship? What if? What if during this match at SummerSlam, a security guard just happens to jump up on the ring with a cattle prod? We've seen this before, haven't we? What if? What if this said security guard tases Triple H? He stumbles into a jackknife powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. We got a new world champion. It's Kevin Nash. What if? What if when security guard steps through the ropes, it's no other than Scott Hall, who has just returned from a stint in rehab? Hey, 90 days has passed. He's clear-headed. What if? What's to say with a Shawn Michaels who has also been rehabilitated by this point? Shawn couldn't keep him on the straight and narrow. Once again, what if? What if at this point, the rest of the NWO comes down and they spray paint the title once again, NWO? What if? What if earlier in the night, in a co-main event, Shawn Michaels makes his return to the ring just like he did in the original timeline, but instead of facing Triple H, he faces the former owner of Raw, Ric Flair. A very Ric Flair who, unfortunately, when he faced a few years later at WrestleMania, his tank was empty. But this Ric Flair, however, this is a few years prior. He's still got a quarter tank of gas, people. He's still the Nature Boy. Woo! Wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, stealing son of a gun. Woo! Let's face it, we could have a match here. Of course Shawn goes over. It's the NWO. There's going to be shenanigans. What if? What if over the course of the next few months, the NWO starts running roughshod? Scott Hall, who is the People's Champion, the Working Man's Champion, as he says it, regains his Working Man title, the Intercontinental Champion, becoming a 5-time Intercontinental Champion. What if? What if instead of merging the European and the Intercontinental Championships together, X-Pac says, I'm going to make that my NWO World Tour title? What if? What if the Big Show and another guy that's no stranger to teaming with big guys, Shawn Michaels, capture the World Tag Team Championships? What if? What if over the course of the next few months they run roughshod over Raw, doing whatever they want to do? Till Survivor Series. Survivor Series, you have a Shawn Michaels-led NWO, a team of 4, versus Flair, Triple H, Booker T, and Goldust, who was teaming at the time, in 404 combat for control. What if Shawn Michaels leads his team to victory? Of course he doesn't do it by fairness. It's hooker by crook. It's NWO. That's how we do it, baby. But what if they go over? What if later in the night, Kevin Nash, who is also running roughshod, goes in and out of the elimination chamber, the very first elimination chamber, and keeps his World Heavyweight Championship? What if? they continue to run how they do. Now, something very pivotal happens in the normal timeline of January 2003. This is when Evolution is formed. Triple H, however, he's a face in this time, in our alternate timeline. He has no reason to form Evolution, does he? He needs strength in numbers, of course. But he's not taking the short path. He's not doing that. So what if, in our new timeline, Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Batista are now led by Chris Jericho? What if? This is a group we can see coinciding together. I can see Chris Jericho and Flair on the same team, taking on the young upstarts of Orton and Batista. What if? What if Jericho tells the NWO, hey, you hold on to those titles. When somebody else gets them from you, then we'll go after them. We got a parlay. What if? Going into Mania, Austin and The Rock, they're on their way out the door. As we know, they have their final match together at WrestleMania. It wasn't a barn burner, but it is what it is. So what if Austin does what's right? Seeing as he put The Rock over, why wouldn't he do what's right here? So, what if the icon, the showstopper, the main event, Shawn Michaels, gets his WrestleMania 14 rematch against Stone Cold Steve Austin? What if Mr. WrestleMania himself shows why he's Mr. WrestleMania and he gets the dub over Austin? Doesn't have to be fair, but he gets it. What if? What if Scott Hall, your working man's champion, your IC champion, has one of the greatest ladder matches of all time against Chris Jericho? What if? What if he does find a way to pull it out? Of course, he has some help from X-Pac, but what if? But what if in the co-main event, inside a Hell in a Cell, Triple H versus Kevin Nash for the World Heavyweight Championship? You got a Hell in a Cell encompassing the ring. No NWO can get involved. Finally, for once, Triple H can get his payback. What if Triple H goes over, just as he done the year prior at WrestleMania, and wins the big one? What if? What if the next night on Raw, though, Shawn Michaels comes to the ring with his NWO as everyone was victorious but Kevin Nash, reads Nash the riot act, teases a divide, and tells him, I'm finna show you how it's done. I'm going to take this kid to task, the very kid that I took under my wing in D-Generation X and taught how to do what he does. I'm going to show him who the real showstopper is. What if at Backlash you have Triple H, the World Heavyweight Champion, versus Shawn Michaels? What if Shawn Michaels regains his World Championship? What if? What if the next night on Raw, Triple H is fed up and Evolution comes to him? Flair, someone who Triple H has idolized, says, you know what? How about for one night only, there's strength in numbers. What if we help you take out the NWO? Let's do this. What if? Evolution with Triple H versus the NWO, led by Shawn Michaels, the World Heavyweight Champion. What if in the middle of this matchup, per se, Triple H does the unthinkable? If you can't beat them, join them. What if the clique re-emerges, Triple H joins the NWO, and now that would just be too sweet. Leaves Evolution laying. What if? These are the things we tackle right here on Cards Subject to Change. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think, what would or wouldn't have happened. Let me know if you think it would have went a different route. I'm always open for debate. And until then, remember, the card is subject to change.